We'll take you to Athens now. Earlier, I spoke to Konstantin Mikolos, president of the Athens Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Konstantin Mikolos, welcome to the programme.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Now, does this election result bring any hope to business? I'm just wondering how on earth business is managing in Greece at the moment.
Well, it's simply not managing. This has been the problem throughout these pre-electoral months. However, the pro-European political powers prevailed yesterday, and I think that is a first step towards the right direction. However, we need, by end of business today, if possible, is the formation of a strong coalition government that they can then decide their political agenda so that they can head off both to Brussels and Berlin to begin renegotiating those parts that will enhance growth into the Greek economic model, and we will begin to exit this crisis.
It looks as though a coalition between PASOK and New Democracy will be the way things go. There are reports that Greeks have been withdrawing 700 million euros a day from the nation's bank, a refusal by the public to pay power bills, this sort of thing. In what way can the new coalition negotiate a package that is somehow less austere and that does generate more growth?
The figure that you give me for 700 million is not correct. The average is between 400 to 425 on a daily basis during the last 2 weeks. This is a result of the ungovernability of the country, and the reason why we pointed out after the first election process back in 6th of May that we needed a government in place. And this is the reason why we needed to have a pro-European vote, which we had last night, so that we make the first step.
Presumably on the domestic front, the priority will be addressing the budget deficit, and one of the issues that Greece has grappled with is the issue of tax evasion. How is that being addressed at the moment?
Well, at the moment it hasn't been addressed, and over the last 2 or 3 months during this pre-election period, it's been absolutely horrific as far as state tax revenues are concerned. Unfortunately, tax evasion is an inherent problem in this country. We need to combat this phenomenon, and the only way to do that is by having a strong mechanism and very, very harsh penal repercussions for someone who's evading even by €1. And I'm sure that this new government will proceed in this direction.
Greece, of course, has already seen massive reductions in government spending programmes, in wages, and indeed in pensions. Do you see any improvements so far in Greece's competitiveness? Because that, after all, is what is going to get Greece out of the situation it's in.
Well, these horizontal cuts that have been implemented over the last 2 years have simply not done the trick. And this is the reason why we are maintaining that we need to enhance growth tools within our economy. By cutting off horizontally, both in the public and the private sector, whether it's the pay, the monthly pay or the pensions, what they've done is they shrunk the domestic product. They've shrunk the activity of the business community in Greece. Even healthy business units here in Greece are finding it extremely difficult to operate, although they're not extended to any kind of loans to banks, simply because they cannot guarantee the working capital that they were accustomed by the local bank. And therefore, any raw materials or other products that need to be brought in need to be prepaid as a result of the so-called country risk that Greece has at the moment. So these are the main issues that the government has to address, and it has to do so immediately.
We see international players like Crédit Agricole and Carrefour recently looking to dramatically reduce their presence in Greece. To what extent is the level of industrial dispute and the level of investor confidence in Greece continuing to damage the situation at the moment?
Well, I think that the case that you mentioned, the case of Carrefour, is not related to the current situation. This is a decision that has been discussed a great deal over the last year between the local partners here and Carrefour. So what we need to do, we need to have in place the right economic policy, the right business taxation policy. We need to reduce red tape and bureaucracy. We need to simplify the process of both setting up and running a business in this country to begin to restore not just foreign investor confidence, but primarily local investors, and then foreign investors, for sure, they will follow on.
Finally, sir, there seems to be a view that at all costs, it's important for Greece to remain part of the euro. The other alternative, which is to go back to the drachma or a local currency, would surely mean it would be easier for you to be competitive because you wouldn't have that constraint of being locked into a currency.
Absolutely not. There will be an absolute chaotic situation developing here in Greece if we were ever to return to our national currency, simply because Greece is not a production-based economy. Any, therefore, competitive advantages that would have been gained by other economies that had a strong production base cannot be attained here in Greece. The food industry, for example, 52% of the local needs can be catered by local industry. Who's going to guarantee the remaining 48% that needs to be imported when you don't have banking institutions in place to guarantee these transactions?
It's very interesting to get your views. Konstantin Mikolos, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much.